It's Wellness Wednesdays with Dr. Nancy, providing helpful tips on how to live your best life now. Well, hello, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Thanks for joining us for another episode here on helpful tips on how to live your best life now. And for all you viewers and listeners that are not able to listen to us live stream, you can text this number 26786, like it's a telephone number that you're going to text 26786, push enter, and then in the text box, type in the letters DRNANCY, and you'll get to see all of the previous episodes, including this one on Wellness Wednesdays, helpful tips on how to live your best life. Now is the answer. Now is where we are. Right here in the present is where we should always be. The past is the past, and the future is just that, but it's optimistic, and it's always about mindset. So today's episode, it is going to be full of wonderful information. We have the series, and it's a holistic approach to health and wellness, and it's the series. So we are introducing Rachel Miller back with us again for a series of episodes to kind of demystify Ayurveda, this ancient Chinese, this ancient, way of living and lifestyle. I'm excited to have you back, Rachel. Thanks for coming on and giving us this information, because knowledge is powerful and awareness is so important. When individuals know better, they can make better decisions for their lifestyle.
I'm excited to be back here as well. Thank you so much. And today we're going to be diving deep into the history of Ayurveda, and not to correct you, but mentioning that Ayurveda, ancient Chinese medicine, there is a correlation there, but we will kind of uncover the origin of what is Ayurveda, where did it come from, and we will see that it actually has more of a little bit of the Indian roots rather than the Chinese roots.
Perfect. So let's get started. Tell us what you do. What your passion is, and how did you discover this way of lifestyle and wanting it to promote it and bringing this information to the masses?
So I host educational workshops on Ayurveda. I'm passionate about Ayurveda. I discovered it a few years back when I took a step away from work. I was spending more time with my family. At one point, I became my mother-in-law's caregiver during the last stages of her life. So I had a lot of downtime and was reading some of the things that interested me. And I'm a yogi at heart, the philosophy, the body postures. So just reading up on the articles, and I discovered that there was a real close relationship with Ayurveda to yoga. And so I just kind of dove deep into that and learned about the practices that I could use for myself, for my mother-in-law, just to make our life at a little bit more ease. Ayurveda is all about a life of ease, living in harmony with nature, balance. And so that's when I decided I wanted to start sharing this with those around me, not just my close family. So I started talking about it in the community, sharing some recipes that I'd learned, and I always got really good feedback. So what I do is I go out into the community hosting these educational workshops. One of the big areas I like to spend my focus are on group workshops. So we learn together, building these sustainable habits. We've all heard that phrase, your tribe attracts your vibe, or your vibe attracts your tribe. So learning together is really important to me in order to see the sustainability of these new goals that we have for ourselves and for our health. And so again, that's my passion. That's where it lies. And so I created this business out of it just to educate others, allowing others to take some of the Ayurvedic practices into their own hands, take your health into your own hands. And again, today I'm going to just educate you a little bit about the history, where it came from. And so just getting right into it, we keep referring to Ayurveda as this ancient system of health or a system of healing. And I mean, that begs the question, well, if it's so ancient, why are we still using it? So I hope to uncover some really, really good things here for you today. And did you have any questions to start out with, or would you like maybe like a quick rundown of the chronological history of it?
Thanks, Rachel. And you've touched on really some really great points on your tribe attracts your vibes, or your vibes attract your vibes. It's all the same. Your vibes attract your tribe attracts your vibe. That which you seek seeks you back. Whatever you put out there comes right back to you. And you spoke on balance and harmony and ease. And everything really is about perspective and mindset as well. I love the idea about the educational workshops and group settings as well, because man is not meant to be an island to himself. And sometimes when you gather people into a group situation and you storyboard and brainstorm, revelations occur as well. And you're able to share stories and be social, because we're social creatures. And, we've gotten away from that. And what's old is really new. And what we used to do as community, we need to kind of get back to that. And again, balance and harmony, and relationship building is very essential. So I really love that about what it is that you do. And yes, we're going to talk about the history of Ayurveda. But also, before we do get started too, Rachel, let individuals, the viewers and listeners, let them know how they can get in touch with you if they're interested in bringing you on to do some group work and those areas that you specialize in as well.
Sure. Well, you can find my website at doshahealingcenter.com. I hang out on social media, on Instagram mostly, and Threads. And in the future, we'll be looking at building a community on Facebook. So if that's more of the platform that you spend time on, no worries. We'll get to you soon enough. But my website is a great place to start. All my contact information is on there.
Good. And it'll also be in all of the on-demand episodes that are available right after we live stream as well. And so let's just get into it, Rachel, because there's a lot to be said about the history of Ayurveda and, as it relates to herbal medicine, diet, yoga. You spoke about body posturing, meditation, health promotion, disease prevention. Those are the areas that I think are really important and very relevant to our journey in life, is because we all want to live at our optimal levels, our peak potential. And I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah. You did mention that kind of that falling away from the old ways, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That is just kind of the nature of evolution in itself. And I like that point, because the nature of evolution is really how the roots of Ayurveda began. So it can be, I always encourage people to have an open mind, because Ayurveda is technically, it's a philosophy. It can be perceived as a religion or an art. But through that nature of evolution, it takes on these attributes to be able to reach the practitioner where they're at. And the evolution of these healing practices, whether they be herbal remedies or using mantras, repeating words over, or a phrase over and over again for healing, whatever the modality is, there is a natural progression on what it looked like 5,000 years ago versus today. So again, why are we using an ancient healing system today? Well, because it works, and it really starts, during the Vedic period. You'll notice the word Ayurveda. So has that word Vedic in it, and that is really, kind of, depending on where your what your upbringing is. I haven't, when I was growing up, we didn't really learn too much about this ice age, but during the ice age, after the ice age, excuse me, is kind of when we saw that formation of the Himalayan population, the Indus Valley population. And so Ayurveda was born out of the region of Kerala, India. And it's really fascinating. Some of the oldest texts that we can refer to today, they do speak of the components of Ayurveda already being in existence. So that goes back to even 5000 BCE. So it is said that the rishis, we might think of these rishis as a seer. These are people who spent a lot of time in deep meditation. They were very in tune and very reverent to the land, to the cosmos. And so the rishis looked around and noticed the people are suffering from illness and from disease. The people around them are sick. And so they took that question that was in their heart of, why are these people sick, and how can we help them with healing into that deep meditative state? And from that, it's said that Ayurveda was realized. So again, it has kind of those ethereal originations. And I myself, I was grown up in a Christian religion, Christian household. And it's, like I said, to have an open mind. It's really beautiful to be able to see some of the correlations between whether you believe that God spoke the universe into existence within, like, that 7-day period, or whatever history and background that you come from. You can still see these correlations of that evolution of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda itself is a Sanskrit word, and the Sanskrit language it's a beautiful language. Each word is composed of syllables and sounds that on their own, they might have a specific meaning. So translation from Sanskrit to English can be not as straightforward as just a literal, this means that. Some of these sounds and syllables, when combined with other words or the context around them, sometimes they take on different meaning. It's kind of similar to the English language, where we have contractions like will and not combined together for the word won't. It means its own thing. But so Ayurveda made up of the word ayus and Veda. Ayus would be to mean life or daily living or daily life, your life. Veda to mean truth or knowledge, and or science. So the truth of your life. And even right there, we can take a pause and kind of recognize the differences on the approach to our health, from like the Western lens to the Eastern lens. And here in America, we do a lot of questioning when it comes to our health. What's wrong? What are the symptoms we're having? And we start formulating these we start analyzing, and then we create this norm. Okay, a lot of people are having these symptoms, so our health in the West tends to be more of an object. From that Eastern lens and from the lens of Ayurveda, we're looking at health as subjective. So it is truly unique to each individual. Ayurveda emphasizes prevention. And speaking of Sanskrit and how beautiful that language is, after the rishis had deeply meditated and realized the ways of evolution and the way that the world works, they started to teach their students through transmitting this orally. And they would use Sanskrit alongside of a melody. So it would kind of be like you're singing these verses in order to share the knowledge of what Ayurveda is. And that eventually came to a point where, let's see, so it came to a point where it was devised as this philosophy. So that's where we get into the philosophy side of things, and it's what is known as Samkhya philosophy. And there's really 24 really big elements that structure the universe and go through a certain flow. And so that's where the components of that philosophy are what Ayurveda today, those components are still true. They still hold fast. And we have been able to supplement them with modern instruments and modern technology to back them up and say, yes, these principles are true. So it's quite beautiful, the journey that it's gone on.
Well, that's a wonderful explanation of the history of Ayurveda, Rachel. And you make several points with regard to how the Western world is and was viewed and is viewed, and how the Eastern part of our country and the world does things. And you said we're more objective here in the West, and the East is more subjective. I really understand the concept, and I think, slowly but surely, we are, as a nation here in the Western world, are realizing that there are alternatives to treating illness and living to your, best self, right? And it's not always man medicine. It could be man-made, like, plant-based things that are here on the earth, that are grown, that can be natural, and or like the simplistic things that you said about the different civilizations that came together that created this this type of ancient medicine, if you will. Singing is universal. It soothes the soul, and most people can relate to that. So I'd like that as well. And then, the last point was to be open-minded. And, uh, people can come from an area of skepticism, but do your due diligence with research and come to, your own understanding. That's the other thing. Your own understanding. The truth of life is more subjective about how you feel and what you do that allows you to feel your best as well. And that's a wonderful thing that I like about Ayurveda as well, is because it's not just one thing. It's multifactorial. We're very dynamic as people, as an individual, as humans. And there's more than one way or one thing that you can do to live your best life. So I really, really enjoy the topic and the history. So thank you for providing that information.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And, I think that is a great start for the viewers and listeners on the history of Ayurveda. We do have some upcoming episodes that are posted as well on all of our social media feeds, and it will be linked in a lot of these on-demand episodes as it relates to Rachel's series here with a whole holistic view of health and wellness, more on what an individual can do. But I will say that again, and this is always a disclaimer, anything that's really said here is informational, and you should always, confer with your healthcare provider when considering, taking or, subscribing to anything that's offered on these episodes as well, because it truly takes a healthcare team in a holistic way to make sure that what it is, the objective is that you're the most important person in this whole scheme of things. So not just to go out and do something without consulting with a healthcare professional. I think that's so important as well. The platform here on Dr. Nancy's Integrative Medicine, brought to you by NG Cares, NGC Network TV, is a platform where we bring individuals on that are credible, that offer content that allows you as an individual to make more informed decisions about your health and wellness journey. So our next episode with Rachel is going to be more on, I believe it's going to be disease prevention, lifestyle routine. So please keep us in mind. Set your calendar for every, this is third, right? Every third Wednesday through July, Rachel's going to come on and give us more information based on demystifying this ancient remedy and Ayurveda, and how to bring more balance and harmony into your life through simple things that don't cost much of anything more than just open mind and the willingness to learn some information that's good and new for you.
That's right. We're looking forward to expanding more on the series, so we hope that you join us every month. We also hope that you continue to tune in every Wednesday and check out some of the other guest speakers that Dr. Nancy brings onto her program. Every individual is amazing in their craft and will give you some really good information. I love that you bring up that disclaimer. It is very important about consulting with your doctors. And so I will just encourage everybody out there to keep that in mind as we move forward with this Ayurveda series, especially as we get more into looking at some of the herbal remedies. You might think that, okay, if my doctor prescribes me to do a certain yoga pose, maybe it doesn't have these negative implications to it. But even though these remedies are from nature, there can be some contraindications with some of the medicines you might already be taking, or some of the family history issues that you might have. So it's always a good idea just to have that holistic approach with your doctor and let them know all of the modalities of healing that you're interested in, that you'd like to implement. And again, Dr. Nancy or myself is the perfect person to have that conversation with one-on-one before you try anything that might have some negative connotations down the road. So thank you for bringing that up. I think that's very important.
Yes. Full transparency here, and we're here to help and inform and educate. So thanks, Rachel, for another wonderful episode, and stay tuned every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesdays at noon Mountain Standard Time. Bye for now. Have a great rest of your week.